The Outsiders is a classic tale written by S.E. Hinton when she was in her teens. Based on real teenage and gang struggles in 1960s America, I find the novel heartbreaking and suspenseful. It is about two opposing gangs, the East Side Greasers and the West Side Socials, or Sox. Our main characters are the Curtis brothers, Ponyboy, Darry, and Soda Pop, who lost their parents in a car accident and are forced to fend for themselves as gang members with their friends. Their lives are troubled and unstable, complete with street rumbles, murder, non-stop parties, heavy drinking, and smoking. I find it interesting how Ponyboy, who serves as the book's narrator, actually uses his entire story as a theme for one of his English assignments. I think the reason why Hinton chose to structure the narrative this way is twofold. To get us immersed in Ponyboy's life as it is happening from a reader's perspective, and to spread awareness of the realities of gang culture from a fictional character's perspective. Especially in the case of the latter, it's important for people who lived through that era to consider its context, or, more accurately, to consider what they might or might not have been missing out on themselves in terms of understanding gang culture. Many people have had a difficult home life and were forced out of school to accept low-paying jobs to make ends meet, even though that didn't always work out in their favor. Many of them had run away and or had some sort of experience with substance abuse and other controversial activities in attempting to escape or improve their financial situations. Fast forward to present day and nothing has changed, really. It's also worth bearing in mind that the story was set before the likes of civil and women's rights movements. The peace movement wasn't being taken seriously, and there was a lot less regulation in terms of how people were treating each other in general. It makes you wonder if being part of a gang possibly served as some form of ironic protection from all that, in spite of its risks, and whether that continues to be the case for modern gangs if so. Stereotypes and labels are also aspects of this novel that continue to be the subject of many English and social science classes. The Greasers are poor and steal necessities to survive. They feel they have to resort to violence for protection and commit their fair share of crimes, earning them labels like hoods, juvenile delinquents, and punks. They are wild, getting into rumbles and driving less expensive cars. The Sox, on the other hand, are wealthy, well-dressed, and popular, possibly the Edwardian-era equivalent of high society. What's interesting about this lot, however, is that they're a public disgrace one day, and yet revered by society the next. They enjoy beer blasts, wrecking houses, and jumping the greasers. They do all this for fun, however, and feel no remorse for their behavior. There is a lot of beautiful symbolism in this book. One such example is the use of Robert Frost's poem, Nothing Gold Can Stay, as one of the central themes of the book. It explains how all that is good and beautiful won't last forever. Let's take a flower, for instance. From spring to summer, the flower blooms and becomes healthy, but wilts as the months go by and eventually dies due to the cold. This can be analogous to Ponyboy and his friend Johnny's situation. They realize their other friends don't really think the same way they do and don't understand their poeticisms. Ponyboy especially is quite emotional for being what he is. He lost his parents, who were his precious gold, and tries to find meaning in things he probably feels people should appreciate more in life, like the golden, misty sunrise every morning. Hinton uses distinct speech to indicate her characters' backgrounds. Phrases like golly and gosh almighty are mostly a product of the times, but they nonetheless give the characters more charm and clue us into how people spoke in 1960s America. I never expected Dallas, the most aloof gang member, to feel so much love for Johnny. I always knew Dallas was the type to care enough that he would do favors for him and Ponyboy like a guardian would, and save children from a house fire. But I just, for some reason, didn't think that Johnny would mean the world to him. It should have been obvious to me whenever he'd call him Johnny Cakes, and is absolutely devastated when he dies. I enjoyed the variety of characters Hinton created for her novel. Almost everyone has a fully fleshed out personality, or at the very least is unique, which makes you think twice about dismissing gang members as one and the same, which is usually in the negative, unnuanced sense. 14-year-old Ponyboy is different from his gang, in that he tries hard not to get into trouble, and appreciates movies, literature, and the arts in general. He is also on the track team, and quite intelligent for his age. Soda Pop is a happy-go-lucky, attractive kind of guy, who is still a child at heart. He may be a high school dropout, but is very kind-hearted and supports his family no matter what. Derry is the oldest and most mature member of the gang. He is hard-working and stern to the point of being overprotective, but nevertheless wants what's best for Ponyboy. Personally, I'm surprised that Derry is even a greaser in the first place. Then again, the same could be said for Ponyboy and Johnny. Aside from a few rumbles here and there, he never once commits an actual crime in the entire novel. Tupin thinks that life is one big joke, always finding ways to make his friends laugh or something to laugh at. Dallas, by far, is the toughest of the group. He is dangerous, unpredictable, and aloof when it comes to life and love. Steve is a skilled mechanic and a loyal friend. Johnny has a difficult home life that causes him to be the most reserved and vulnerable member in the group. I thoroughly enjoyed getting to know all these characters and seeing gang culture portrayed in a different light compared to what the media shoves down our throats on a regular basis. This book left a lasting impression on me, and I'd definitely consider it one of my favorites.